a steeplechase by Sybil Andrews. Tell me where you found it.
It was at a car boot.
Car boot sale.
Car boot sale, yeah.
Fabulous. The wonderful thing about Sybil Andrews was that she was particularly interested in cubism and futurism, and with this particular print you get a real sense of strength and speed with the horses. She was very much friends with Claude Flight from the Grosvenor School of Modern Art. She went there as a secretary with a friend called Cyril Power, all of them great printmakers, and all of them focused on the machine age. In 1918 she was working in a factory as a welder, so she really got the sense of the machine age and the great strength of it. So what is it that you like about the picture? What drew you to the picture at this car boot sale?
Well, the simplicity and the colours and the movement that's depicted and the subject as well.
So you visit many car boots?
I did do at one time, yeah. Not anymore.
Do you think this could be valuable?
No, I just liked it.
And how much did it cost you?
£4.
£4. Well, it is marked 32 out of 50, so it's a limited edition of 50. It's a very well-known image, very rare image, and the sort of image that's very sought after at the moment.
Right. Go on.
And it's worth about £5,000 to £8,000.
Blimey, joking. Not a bad boot buy, that, was it? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So here we have a very beautiful still life of red roses. Can you tell me some history about the painting?
Yes, it was left to me by my father, and he was a director of a firm which in the 1960s they used to have oil paintings done, and then they used to make them in the calendar for the firm's calendars. So really that's how it came about.
Wonderful. And so he left the picture to you?
Yes.
And do you know who the picture's by?
It's by Cecil Kennedy, because I have looked that up. But I was told by somebody that came in to look at the house that with the auctions that it was a print, it wasn't an original, and it was £10.
£10 is what they offered
Yes.
you for this
yes,
picture?
Yes.
And were you sceptical at all?
Well, I was surprised because I thought my father wouldn't necessarily have left me a £10 print.
No, not at all.
But I've no idea about it, any other history than that. So.
Well, thank goodness you didn't sell it for £10, because in fact it's an original work by Cecil Kennedy.
Yes.
And it's an oil on canvas, and it's probably one of the best still lives I've seen by Cecil Kennedy in many, many years. On the back there is a label, a Fine Art Society label, very, very good dealers in London, and the date is 1960s, and it's a very, very good period for the artist. And at that time, around the 60s, there were 3 or 4 artists painting these still lives. There's another artist called Harold Clayton, another artist called Gerald Cooper, but Cecil Kennedy was particularly good. And this is an incredible picture. Cecil Kennedy, do you know much about him? Have you looked him up at all?
I've looked him up on the internet, and we know that he did. Queen Mary had some paintings by him, and that he always had the ladybird.
That's a
from then on,
yeah.
yes. But that's really all I know about it.
And sometimes you'd see a bumblebee as well in his pictures.
Yeah.
The Duke of Windsor was also a patron. Thompson of Fleet was also a patron. And he had a number of people buying his pictures. The actual detail in the glass vase, I think, is extraordinary. I don't know of any other artist who can actually paint something of such quality from this period. And if you look right into the glass, you can see on the left-hand side there's a reflection from the window behind. And you can see right beyond that into a sort of treescape beyond. The depth and the water, the droplets on the roses, absolutely exquisite. And you really don't get much sort of better quality pictures, still life pictures in the 1960s by any other artist. You know, for still lifes, he is very, very good.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, this picture is worth in excess of £20,000 in the present market. It really is a fantastic picture by Kennedy.
You're joking. Why did he offer me £10? He said it was a print.
Well, there we have it. Thank goodness you didn't sell it. It's a wonderful picture.
Yes. Oh, right. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
It's the most glorious summer's day here in York, and of course the sun is out, the sky's beautifully blue, and we've got lots of lovely white clouds. And you've brought in an absolute gem, a lovely cloud study which is signed, but if it wasn't signed, one might think that perhaps it was by Constable or perhaps one of his followers. But of course it's not. It's by the great 20th century artist Edward Seago.
That's right.
So where did you find it?
It was on a dealer's website about 5 years ago, and I really couldn't afford it, and I went horrendously overdrawn for it, but I just couldn't resist it. I kept looking at it on the website every week, and in the end I thought, go for it. Because I like Constable, which you alluded to, and I thought, well, it might be the next best thing and I can afford it, just.
It's a little jewel, this picture by Seago, and of course I think probably it was done, well, it was probably just a picture that he enjoyed to paint, probably one of those great little studies that he would do as a painter, enjoying paint rather than having to do it as a commission. You can tell that he's actually technically very, very good. And it gets away from all those wonderful but rather prolific Norfolk landscapes that he painted and that we all recognise him through. I just love this, and actually if I'd been in a gallery and seen it and had to go overdrawn, I would have probably done the same thing as you. Have you dated this picture?
No. I knew he died in 1974, the year I was born, but I didn't know when it had been painted.
Well, I think it's probably quite early, because I think, you know, prior to him doing these great commissions and those wonderful landscapes, we know that he had quite a weak heart, so he was there, as certainly in his teens, painting little studies and sketches from his bedroom. I suspect this was probably done in his 20s or 30s, so we're looking at 1930, 1940. But it's unusual, it's a total one-off little painting.
Another reason that I do like this picture is because in 2008 I had a heart operation for the same kind of problem that Seago had, which incidentally I didn't know about when I bought the painting, but it's developed a new relevance. And mine was fixed, whereas in Seago's day he was dogged by it for his whole life. So for that reason I like it even more now.
Well, I think this gives you even more reason to never sell this painting. Because apart from it being an absolutely lovely little picture by Seago, there's also that particular connection. So it is worth not as much as some of those great landscapes that make thousands and thousands of pounds, but I certainly could see someone paying at least £3,000 to £5,000 for it, perhaps even £4,000 to £6,000 for it.
That's great. That's great. That's a little bit more than I paid, so, and I really love it, and I'm happy with that. So.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So here we have quite a large folio of drawings. Let's have a look and see what's inside. Now, isn't that lovely? Tell me, where have these come from?
Well, I got them out of the father's attic, or loft, you know. When he passed away, we emptied the house and we found these in there.
Found in the attic?
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
You know, but I didn't know what they was, but we kept them anyway.
Well, I see this one signed EP 1883. Now, I know that as Evelyn Pickering.
Oh, because I thought it was Evelyn Morgan herself.
Well, that's right.
Portrait.
That's right, it is Evelyn de Morgan, but it's just prior to getting married to William de Morgan. So 1883, that's an exquisite drawing, and it's of a model called Jane Hale, very, very well-known model that she used a great deal. So when you found these in the attic, do you know how they got to the attic?
I haven't got a clue. I didn't even know he collected anything.
This is extraordinary, because Evelyn de Morgan is quite a famous painter.
I have heard of them, yeah.
And have you done any much research yourself?
No, not at all.
Of course, she was associated to the pre-Raphaelite movement. And some of the great pre-Raphaelite painters influenced her work. And she was married to William de Morgan, who's a very, very famous potter.
Yeah, yes, I remember him making the tiles.
That's right, he made the tiles, exactly. A whole number of these drawings are studies for quite famous, well-known pictures, like the Gilded Cage, the Sea Maidens.
Well, you know, I don't know these pictures, you know, because I'm not into art that much, but I like a good painting anyway.
Exactly. Well, the De Morgan Foundation, there's a whole number of original paintings by Evelyn de Morgan, including the Sea Maidens, and this is a little study for that picture. Now that is also an amazing drawing by de Morgan. I mean, this is an absolutely fabulous drawing. And this probably dates sort of to about 1895 and is also a study for a very famous picture. Beautifully drawn, and actually all the highlights too. Look at those delicate hands and the way her hair's been drawn.
Oh, it's beautifully
Absolutely
drawn.
Gorgeous. Of course, these could be restored quite nicely as well, even though they're in brittle condition.
And I think this is a study for the Gilded Cage, isn't it? This is wonderful. The drapery is absolutely gorgeous, the way it's been done. Absolutely wonderful. Now, all of these are incredibly sought-after drawings.
I know.
In a specialised sale, I think these could do incredibly well. There are a whole number of them are studies for major paintings, most of which I think are in the De Morgan Foundation. And I would expect, certainly this group could make £10,000.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
10,000?
Yeah.
I'm going on holiday. £10,000.
Absolutely.